déjà takeoff.
So 034 is checked. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Time. Set take thrust and 1 toe down, heading select.
Takeoff thrust set.
Checked.
80 knots.
Checked.
V1 rotate. Positive rate.
Positive radio.
This time, you're really miking it up,
LNAV. LNAV.
Quality 462 Charlie, identify pass 1800 feet, contact 1289050.
1289050, yes, quality 462 Charlie.
Bye-bye.
Prime thrust. And 1.
American 8, quality 462 Charlie, passing 2400, payment contact.
Spera quality 462 Charlie, continue pressure heading, climb flight level 160, no restriction.
Level 160, no restriction, Northern heading, quality 462 Charlie.
Heading select. And 160 is checked. Speed 210. Flaps 1. Flaps up.
Quality 462 Charlie, left to pickup, correction to Remax.
Left turn, relax, quality 462 Charlie.
Israel 5646, contact on 133325.
Select VNAV. VNAV space.
Flight star 6119, air contact on 134325.
134, if you're happy, we can set standard already.
Standard set.
994,
And the
Standard set.
after takeoff check airspace.
After takeoff checklist, engine beats are on, PAX auto, landing gear up and off, flaps up no lights, altimeter 10155. After takeoff checklist complete, it's
Thank you.
Quality 462 Charlie, climb flight level 300.
climb level 300, quality 462 Charlie.
300.
Trans 104 Tango, turn left to Relin.
Turning left to Trillion from 104 Tango.
Well, as we have seen a beautiful sunset on the ground in Athens, we took off actually by night, and now we are taking off. We took off and we're climbing flight level 300, and as we speak the sun is coming up again in the west, and that's very special. So you see it's a beautiful sunrise in the western side, on the west side. I love this. I love this job. Yes, sir. Execute.
515, Καλησπέρα, Spokin 3454.
Over. 515.
Good evening, Juliet 85 Hotel, passing flight number 306, coming flight number 320, course Bosnia.
85 Hotel, καλησπέρα, radar code, flight level 380.
Flight number 380, Juliet 85 Hotel.
Primera 85 Hotel, climb initially 360, sorry.
Juliet 85 Hotel, confirm, climb level 360.
Z85 Hotel, proceed to Bosnia, climb initially 360.
Correct, Bosnia, climb level 360, Juliet 85 Hotel.
515, radar contact.
RVSM check at 250.
Yeah.
Top.
Plus 30. Okay.
Καλησπέρα, Dolphin 513 Alpha, flight level 325, from the flight level 360 and descending direct to me.
513 Alpha, καλησπέρα, radar contact.
So the Boeing 737-300 still has a lot of lights and a lot of switches. So if you look at this and you see all the lights on, it's quite impressive. But if we cut the whole aircraft in some pieces, then we can put all the systems in their place. So we divide it in big chunks. I'll explain a couple of things of the primary part which we use for the flying. Of course, we've got the controls, the engine controls. Here we've got the speed brakes and the flaps. That's the primary part to fly the aircraft. For that, we need the primary instruments, and I've got them straight in front of me, below the window. And this is all the instruments I need for flying. Here you've got the attitude indicator, and this is what we call the navigation display. And next to it we've got a speed indicator, altimeter. We've got a clock, which is also very important for the time, RDMI, and on the right side you will see a vertical speed indicator. If all these instruments won't work, and they won't work on the first officer side, then we have our last hope, and that's the standby instruments, with the standby horizon and the standby altimeter, and included in there is a speed indicator. If you go further to the right, here you got the fuel indication, and next to it you see all the instruments for the engines. And from the top down you see the N1s. That's actually the fan which you see on the outside. You got the EGT. That's the temperature in the engines. The N2, the inner core, and there you find the fuel flow. On the right hand side you also have some engine instruments with the oil pressure, the oil temperature, oil quantity, vibration, and here at the bottom you see the hydraulics. And two systems, system A, system B, and you see the pressure and you see the quantity. So here is the MCP, and with the MCP we give all the information to the autopilots and what we want him to do, what we want to fly. So at the moment we're flying in VNAV and in LNAV, and that's all the vertical and lateral control which comes out of the FMC. That's actually the highest level of control which you can have. You can reduce that level of control by giving their own speeds and their own headings and your own altitudes. So we can all put that in this MCP. And then if you go to the lowest level of control, of course, is to take out the autopilot and fly the aircraft yourself. Right?
And then we've got the pedestal over here, and at the pedestal you can see some controls of the weather radar. Here we've got the radio. We've got two radios, and we both use the number 1 radio. Here we've got the navigation equipment. We can put in frequencies for the navigation. And this is the control panel to give the commands to what we want to see on the screen. Further down we've got some controls of the radio. Here is the transponder, and this is ACARS, and ACARS is a system where we can get information from the ground, for example the weather or the latest information on the weather change in our destination, for example. If we want to, we can also communicate with this equipment to the company. And that's basically what we have here at the pedestal, and then I will show you the systems on the overhead panel. So if you look at the overhead panel, we actually put all the systems in different groups. I will start from the upper part here, where you got the controls of the flight controls. And here, the major part here is the fuel. So with this we control the fuel flow to the engines. At the moment we have only fuel in the wing tanks, and that's why all these pumps are on. If we have more than 9 tons, that means that we have also fuel in the center tank, and then we put these pumps on as well. If we want, we can use the crossfeed to balance the fuel if we have to. Here you see an indication which tells us what the temperature of the fuel is. In this second line you will see mainly the electric controls. Here we can see all the indications of all the buses we have on board. This is a very important switch. If you want a cup of coffee, you put the galley power on. Further down you see controls and indications which you can check, and then you have the controls of the electrics. So the generators are now connected to the engines, and on the ground you would use the APU in the tail to give us electronics or electrics. And these are the indications for the APU. In the center we have some lights controls, emergency lights controls, and the fasten seatbelts control. And here you've got the wiper. If it's raining, you can put it on 2 levels, a lower and a higher level. Further up there you find some anti-ice control, or icing. So the window heat is actually always on, and also the pitot static heat is always heated. So the probes you saw outside, they are heated from here. And if one of these lights comes off, that means that we will have one of them are not working correctly. Then we have the engine anti-ice, which we can put on the engine 1 and 2. And that's important when you are in icing conditions. You don't want the ice to build up on the outside of the wing. Also the wing anti-ice you can turn on, and that means that the leading edge of the wing will be heated. Next, a very small panel, very important one. This is actually the whole control of the hydraulics. We've got pumps who are electric, so electrically driven, but you also see the pumps who are driven and actually fixed to the engines. Below that you will see some indication for the doors. If one of the doors will come on now, we have to go into the checklist. Next you will see a part which all comes together with this, because that's the pressurization control. You know, the aircraft is pressurized because at the pressure which is outside the aircraft we would not be able to breathe. So this panel is the indication where we put in the flight level of the flight, and here we put in the landing altitude. The controls are now automatic, and that means we do not have to put in any information over there, and that's very nice. We've got an alternate system which works exactly the same. If both of these systems would fail, there's always a possibility to go into manual, and in that case we are really busy to put in the right pressure on the aircraft at a certain levels. Now you can see here what the pressure is in the cabin. That's about 8,000 feet. If that gets higher than 10,000 feet, we have to be careful, and therefore we have the oxygen masks. And here you can see the rate in which the pressure of the cabin goes up and down. And then further in the right upper corner, it's very important, is the control of the temperature in the flight deck and in the cabin. And then you can see with this switch what the temperature would be, or what the temperature is of the air who comes into the cabin. Further down here, the lower side, there are all switches. Most of them are the lights. We've got the landing lights here, the runway turn-off lights and the taxi lights. This is the APU on and off switch. We've got some engine start switches. And here you see the rest of the lights, like the strobe lights and the navigation lights. This is the overhead panel. And in the left corner you see the IRSs. Here you see an indications of the flaps, so we can control if something would not be right, one of the lights would come on over here. This is also a part of the IRS, and the controls we can even put in positions via this keyboard. We have a panel for smoke control. If there is any smoke in the cabin, the lights would come on over here. And then we have the crew oxygen, and there's an extra audio panel in the top. Some engine controls as well. Well, that completes all the systems of the Boeing 737-300. So I'm flying now the 737-300, which we call the classic aircraft, for almost 10 years. And I must say, it's a very nice aircraft to fly. You've seen all the indications, you've seen all the switches, which gives you the impression that it is a very complicated aircraft. But actually, the more you fly it, the easier it gets, of course. Still, there's a lot of things to learn of this aircraft, and you have to see as this aircraft is talking to you, with all the flags and all the indications and all the lights, it tells you what the situation is of this aircraft. It's not obvious always. If you have a light on, you really have to take the time to see if that what you think it is, to really identify as it is. And that's of course a job we do with the whole crew. And we're gonna take our time. If the time is not involved, we take really serious time to see if there is a more than just the light, or if there is a bigger system or a bigger problem with the system. Of course, sometimes you don't have a lot of time to go into detail, and that's where situations where we are trained for in the simulator. So the simulator is exactly the same as you see here, so there's no change, all the lights are the same, all the indications are the same, and that's where we practice the really emergency situations, and we do that quite regularly, at least once in a half year we'll be in the simulator to practice all sorts of emergencies. So that is a bit of an explanation of the aircraft, and I must say again, it's a very nice aircraft to fly, and I will hope that I will fly for a long, long time on the 737-300.
Good evening, quality 46 to Charlie, level 360.
Quality 46 to Charlie, good day, identified.
Briefing for the approach in Liege. The weather we just checked, the weather is good. The NOTAMs we've checked as well. Nothing special. Fuel, we will be landing with 3.4. The minimum we need to go to Brussels is 2.3. That gives us about a ton of extra fuel. Aircraft state still okay. We start the descent approximately in about 80 to 90 miles. The arrival will be probably Geslow. We'll get probably a direct to Rudix for the straight-in approach for the 05 right. Inbound course is 045, set on the frequency 108.75. I've got the ADF 290, all know in ADF 1 and 2. The altitude is out of 3,000 feet. We descend with the glide, 045, down to a minimum of 800 and 860, yeah. And that's set on 1 and 2. If we miss the approach, the routing will be climb straight ahead in a maximum speed of 185 to 5.5 from Liege, and then we make a left turn to return to the VOR to 3000 feet. And when we land on the runway 05 right, we vacate probably via Sierra 3 or Sierra 4, and then we taxi via Alpha 3 to one of our stands. Okay? So for the nav setup, I set 108.75, the beacons are set, auto brake is 2, the minimum set on 860, and for the speeds, VREF will be 121, the target speed will be 126.
Charlie, descent flight level 320. Descent level 320, quality 460 Charlie.
320, and we start our descent. Do you have any questions for the briefing? Perfect. So, we descend now, execute. Yes, please.
Good evening, quality 462 Charlie, approaching level 320 on course to Idovi.
Quality 462 Charlie, good night, identified. Quality 462 Charlie, proceed direct to T-put, descent flight level 250.
Direct T-put, descent level 250, quality 462 Charlie.
250. T-put. Perfect. Execute. That's nice. Yeah. Oh, that's what I said the whole round. But I was surprised still that we had to fly this routing. So, but this is a bit of a shortcut. That's good.
Korea 902, climb flight level 350.
Climb to flight level 350, Korea 902, super.
Contract 421 Juliet.
Fine control hello, good evening, quality 7901 Romeo maintaining 280 direct transport.
Quality 7901 Romeo, hello, identified.
So expect 42 Bravo.
Sorry, which one?
42 Bravo.
42 Bravo.
3535, 513 Alpha.
And Bex on the radio.
Perfect. So we have the change direct Rudix.
Contact
Check.
421 Juliet.
So 42 Bravo. So 42 Bravo is here between Sierra 4 and Sierra 3.
That's where we are, where we lived yesterday, I think.
Perfect.
Dynasty 648, good enough, identified, climb level 270.
Say again for Dynasty 648.
Identified, climb level 270.
Time to 270, Dynasty 648.
Quality 462 Charlie, contact London 126325.
126325, quality 462 Charlie. Hello, good evening, quality 462 Charlie, descending level 250 on course to Rudix.
Quality 42, correction 462 Charlie, radar contact, good evening, descend flight level 220.
220, good evening, quality 462 Charlie.
220.
Lufthansa 2 Lima Romeo, contact Brussels 125.
Check.
Schönen Abend, ciao, ciao. Quality 462 Charlie, contact Brussels 125, 0, good night.
Is that good evening, quality 462 Charlie, Rudix level 220.
Quality 462 Charlie, Grey radar contact, descend to flight level 210, Rudix runway 05 right.
Descend 210, Rudix 05 right, quality 462 Charlie.
Checked.
1000 to level off.
Vertical speed.
Check.
Quality 462 Charlie, turn 10 degrees left, descend to flight level 150.
10 degrees left, descend level 150, quality 462 Charlie.
150.
Check.
So retard MSP speed, heading select.
Lufthansa 5 Lima Papa, descend to flight level 90. Lufthansa 5 Lima Papa, descending level 90. Quality 011, descend to flight level 60.
Flight level 60, quality 011.
Quality 462 Charlie, descend to flight level 100.
Descend level 100, quality 462 Charlie.
100.
Check.
Ryanair 3, correction, Ryanair 96 Golf Bravo, contact Maastricht, 132.855, goodbye.
2855 on a 96 Golf Bravo, goodbye.
Quality 462 Charlie, on navigation to Rudix.
On navigation Rudix, quality 462 Charlie.
Rudix.
Gemini Force 017, contact
Yeah.
Langen on
That's it.
correction, 126.325.
126.325, German Air Force 017.
Enough.
Check.
Ryanair 90 X-ray Bravo, climb to flight level 270.
Moscow 270 and 90 extra Bravo.
Quality 462 Charlie, descend flight level 80.
Descend flight level 80, quality 462 Charlie.
Lufthansa 2 Lima Romeo, descend flight level 160.
Check.
Check.
Lufthansa 5 Lima Papa, on navigation to the Brussels COI.
On navigation, direct Brussels COI, Lufthansa 5 Lima Papa.
Quality 462 Charlie, descend flight level 70.
Descend 70, quality 462 Charlie.
Check.
Quality 462 Charlie, contact Liege 119.275.
Liege 119275, quality 462 Charlie.
QT 74 Bravo.
Liege, bonjour, quality 462 Charlie, descending level 60 on course to Rudix.
462 Charlie, bonsoir, radar contact,
Check.
vectoring LS approach, runway 05 right, number 2. Information Juliet, turn right, heading 320.
Information, Juliet, right turn 320, quality 462 Charlie.
320. Can you make an extended center line for me?
Quality 462 Charlie, continue descent to 3000 feet, QNH 1014.
Descend 3000 feet, 1014, quality 462 Charlie.
3000 feet and the approach checklist, please.
Approach checklist 1014 time. Approach checklist completed, sir.
Thank you.
It's already there. You want the progress page
perfect. That's it. Thank you.
4 nautical miles from the axis.
Take flaps 1. And speed 190.
Check.
462 Charlie, right heading 020, cleared for ILS approach 05, right, report established.
Right, heading 020, clear ILS approach 05 right, I call you established, quality 462 Charlie.
Good, got the ILS on my side.
Check.
Forelock arms.
030 degrees, 7 knots.
Quality 011, fully established.
Identify both sides.
Thank you very much.
Wind 030 degrees, 7 knots.
Clear to land, runway 05 right, quality 011.
Roll capture.
So final heading set 045.
Check.
And the approach is armed, glide slope capture,
Captured.
and the missed approach is 3000 feet.
Check.
Flaps 5. And the speed 170.
Check. 1000 to level off.
Check. Oh, we have a glide slope capture.
Yeah.
And quality 462 Charlie, free established LS 05 right.
462 Charlie, continue approach 6 miles and 777.
I will call quality 462 Charlie.
Liege, bonsoir, Beauty 74 Bravo, level 80 descending to 60, course to Rodix.
Beauty 74 Bravo, sorry. Turn left heading 080, vectoring ILS approach runway 05 right, information Juliet.
Heading 080, information Juliet Red Hotel, and standing by for further descent, Beauty 74 Bravo.
Auto inside.
About 1 minute when
Perfect.
Check.
Take the gear down. Flaps 15. Speed 150. So I disconnect.
Check.
Beauty 74 Bravo, descend to 3000 feet, QNH 1014, clear for ILS approach, report established.
Descent to 3000 feet, 1014, clear to approach, runway 05 right, I call you established, Beauty 74
Flap 30. Speed 126.
Wind 030 degrees, 7 knots, clear to land.
Clear to land 05 right, quality 462 Charlie.
Good.
Beauty 74 Bravo, reduced to final approach speed when established. We'll try to fit an inspection in between.
Yes, we heard about it. We are reducing the speed, Beauty 74 Bravo.
$500.
Checked.
Approaching minimum.
Checked.
Minimum.
Continue.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brake up, reverseur normal. Auto brace disarm.
Inspection low position.
Can you ask him if he can vacate via Sierra 3?
On se demandait où t'étais, mais ça va, je te vois. 2 secondes.
Thank you.
use Sierra 3 for ETA 462 Charlie?
That would actually help. Give way to the 777 and stand for 2 Bravo sharp.
Well, welcome in Liege. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure to have Just Planes on board. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.